Which of the following is not true? A. Taiwan has a higher density of convenience stores than any other country in the world. B. People in the 1700s and 1800s widely accepted there were extinct species because of fossil evidence. Or C. The word dinosaur wasn't coined until 1841. Two of those are true and one of them is false. Keep listening to Formosa Fauna to find out which is which. Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can become smarter than all of your friends. Every Friday is Formosa Fauna Friday. Hello, I'm Tristan Hildebrand, the voice of Formosa Fauna. I love animals and I love talking about them. If you're even remotely curious about the animal kingdom, you've come to the right place. On today's agenda, we're going to talk about the rehabilitated olive ridley sea turtles returning to the ocean in Taiwan, the scientist of the week, love him, hate him, mostly hate him, extinct species denial, why all the lights at convenience stores are off in Taiwan, and Barreleyes. So let's dive right in. After the death of the very rare leatherback sea turtle the past couple weeks, we are in need of some positive and uplifting animal-related news this week, which is exactly what we got. Sean Scanlon with Taiwan News reported on two rehabilitated olive ridley sea turtles who were just released back into the ocean at Houwan Beach in Pingtung just yesterday. The two turtles were both found injured by fishing gear. One of them was found in Kaohsiung in January, injured by fishing nets. The other olive ridley sea turtle was found stranded in Penghu with its right forelimb amputated because of necrosis caused by discarded fishing gear entanglement. The second turtle required a full year of treatment and rehabilitation. The Ocean Conservation Administration and National Museum of Marine Biology and Aquarium organized the release. Members of the public gathered at the beach at a safe distance and cheered the turtles on as they very slowly crept across the beach and back into the sea. Taiwan has a marine animal rescue network hotline that you can call if you or anyone else you know ever runs across a marine animal that's injured, stranded, or otherwise in need of help. Call that hotline at 118 to report it and get the creature some help. Again, that's the Marine Animal Rescue Network hotline. If you're in Taiwan, that's 118. Easy to remember. Nice and short. Since the hotline's establishment, authorities say 28 cetaceans and 154 sea turtles have been assisted back into the ocean, thanks to that hotline. This includes satellite transmitters for 22 of those sea turtles for the program to track their movements. The scientist of the week. Remember how at the beginning of this episode I said I mostly hate this scientist? Well, Georges Cuvier. He's French, and I'm not sure. Georges Cuvier was a French naturalist and zoologist who was born in 1769 and died in 1832. He is sometimes called the father of paleontology, but is also known for being racist, neglectful, and supporting very scientifically inaccurate theories. Cuvier was one of the first to prove that extinction occurred in some species by pointing out distinct differences between fossils and their living related or similar counterparts. Cuvier coined the name mastodon for its Greek meaning of breast tooth, referring to the patterns on mammoths' teeth, unlike those of any living elephants. He strongly opposed theories of evolution, though, and conducted racial studies that provided part of the foundation for scientific racism, including having published work on supposed differences between racial groups' physical properties and mental abilities. This was obviously obviously later disproved, and there's actually no basis for race altogether in biology. And that's what I learned in my anthropology course at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. There is no basis for race at all in biology. The DK Ecology book reads, "A world previous to ours destroyed by catastrophe." The chapter talks about extinction and change, and mentions our scientist of the week, Mr. Cuvier. In the early days of fossil research, people denied that there could be extinct species. Society at the time had a hard time grasping the concept of why God would create and destroy creatures, and some argued that unfamiliar fossil species were perhaps just living somewhere else on Earth. French zoologist, again Cuvier, explored the anatomy of living and fossil elephants and was able to prove that fossil forms of mammoths and mastodons were anatomically distinct from living elephants, supporting his theory that they represented extinct species. Mammoths were good to make this point because with their size, it was unlikely that they lived somewhere else on Earth, just unnoticed. Cuvier believed that Earth had experienced a series of distinct ages, each of which ended with a revolution that destroyed existing flora and fauna. Despite this evidence and his theory, he still did not believe that the evidence of fossils supported a theory of evolution. Despite this, Cuvier's central views continue to win support even to this day, nearly 200 years after his passing. Modern evidence points to at least 5 catastrophic mass extinction events in Earth's past, including the one that wiped out dinosaurs. Contrary to Cuvier's belief, however, scientists today know that life isn't recreated out of nothing following a mass extinction event. Rather, when a mass extinction event kills off many species, those left will evolve and multiply, often very quickly, to fill vacant ecological niches, much like the mammals did after the age of the dinosaurs. Cuvier died in 1832, after which in 1841, about 9 years later, the English anatomist Richard Owen coined the huge reptile fossils dinosaurs. So it wasn't until 1841 that somebody coined the term dinosaurs. We'll talk more about Richard Owen in a future episode. There's only one place on Earth that has a higher density of convenience stores than Taiwan. Can you guess which country that is? I'll give you 5 more seconds. And while you're thinking, I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's close to Taiwan, but not Taiwan. 3, 2, 1. The answer is South Korea. South Korea has a higher density of convenience stores than any other country in the world, and Taiwan comes in second place. Living in Taiwan, I rarely go a day without going to the convenience store, and probably have never gone a day without seeing a convenience store. Maybe when I was camping in the mountains, but even on the way up and the way down, you do pass by convenience stores because they're always in the mountains. Taiwan's largest convenience store chain is 7-Eleven, with Family Mart in second place, High Life in third place, and OK Mart in fourth. Many of these convenience stores, in fact, most of these convenience stores offer round-the-clock service, keeping their doors open 24 hours a day and lights on for just as long. While that is an amazing feat of convenience, to know that at any point in the day you can take a few steps outside of your home and have access to the many, many services and products that these stores offer, for some of the hours in the day, they're like a late night and early morning, they do little to no business, making it sort of unnecessary to keep their lights on, especially if you're talking about the store sign. So that leads us to this story. This week, 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and OK Mart have pledged to turn their lights off for Earth Hour on Saturday evening to promote energy saving and climate awareness. When I heard about this, I thought, oh my gosh, you're going to have to go into the convenience store with the lights off. What are you going to do? Turn on the flashlight on your phone? But no. Here's what they're doing, okay? Family Mart and OK Mart have pledged to turn store signs off for 1 hour for Earth Hour, while 7-Eleven says they will turn theirs off for 2 hours, longer than in previous years. So they're turning the store signs off. 7-Eleven has even coordinated with stores in the Philippines, convincing them to turn their store signs off and bringing the total number of participating outlets to more than 10,000 across both places. This also makes it the largest cross-border lights-off event by convenience stores in Asia. The Philippine stores alone are expected to save over 5,200 kilowatt hours of electricity per ET today. The Earth Hour event is a global event where participating businesses are encouraged to turn off non-essential lights for just 1 hour to raise awareness of climate change. The event is organized by the Worldwide Fund for Nature and held annually to promote energy conservation. Personally, the first time I found out about the event was several years ago when I was on a familiar street and I said something along the lines of, oh, look, 7 forgot to turn their light on. And it was especially obvious to me because I was so familiar with the street and that store. And then I turned and I noticed that Family Mart had also forgotten to turn their sign on. And then I looked at another 7-Eleven because they're all on the same street and they forgot to turn their sign on. I was like, what is this? It's kind of like in the United States, we'll fly the flag at half-mast, and then sometimes when you're not really paying attention to the news, you go, oh God, who died, right? It means something. So I think I turned right to Google and asked, why are all the convenience stores forgetting to turn their signs on, and found out about the event, Earth Hour, right? Of course, people around the world are welcome to join because why not? Just turn the lights off. A small action for a very short period of time, just an hour, when multiplied across the world, can save a lot of energy and raise a lot of awareness. Today, you're going to learn about Barreleye. Barreleye. Barreleye are fish with remarkable emerald eyes. They live in the inky depths of the twilight zone, as Helen Scales explains it, between 600 and 800 meters below sea level. They were first widely known in 1939 when specimens were caught in nets and brought to the surface. Barreleyes have 2 small spots above their mouths that look like eyes, and are in fact olfactory organs called nares, N-A-R-E-S, that sniff chemicals in the water. The green pigment in their actual eyes is believed to filter out the very dim sunlight that trickles into the twilight zone, giving them a better chance of glimpsing the flashing bioluminescent lights of other animals. Scientists at first believed the domed green eyes were fixed, permanently gazing up to spot silhouettes of prey above them. But in 2009, a barreleye was caught on camera by a deep-diving robot off the coast of California, revealing 2 things. First, the fish's eyes can actually swivel. When a barreleye spots something of interest, it rotates the eyes like a pair of binoculars. Second, they have a large transparent dome over their heads, which Helen Scales describes as a cartoon space helmet or upturned goldfish bowl. This was not previously discovered because it's a delicate structure that had been torn off by the collected specimens. This helmet-like structure also suggested to scientists that they swim up to steal small prey, with the clear dome protecting their eyes. Yet, nobody has seen it happen for sure. There are over 17,000 species that thrive in the deep sea where no light penetrates the ocean waves, many of which, much like the barreleye, we just do not know a lot about. There is still so much to be discovered, and we have only barely scratched the surface. Uniformitarianism, uniformitarianism is a long word that means the theory that geological processes, such as the laying down of sediment, erosion, and volcanic activity, occur at the same rate now as they did in the past. This idea emerged in the late 18th century as mining, quarrying, and increased travel brought more geological features to light, including unusual rock strata and previously uncovered fossils. At the time, society believed that the Earth was only a few thousand years old, but that was challenged by several scientists and geologists who argued for Earth's far greater antiquity. Namely, Scottish geologist James Hutton in 1785 went on expeditions around Scotland to examine layers of rock. He believed that the Earth's crust was constantly changing and suggested that the geological actions of layering, erosion, and uplifting were just as slow throughout the Earth's history. Hutton also theorized that most geological processes happen so gradually that the features he was discovering must be astronomically old, much older than just several thousand years, as people at the time thought. Uniformitarianism was not accepted, especially in the beginning, partially due to the stories in the Old Testament. Hutton's theories, alongside a few other scientists, would go on to inspire a young Charles Darwin. Many dogs experience separation anxiety, and if your dog is experiencing it, it's likely you are too. Separation anxiety can be identified in dogs by often prolonged barking and whimpering, pacing, drooling, digging, chewing, and scratching, especially at doors and windows. In some cases, dogs will break out of their confinement and pee around the house despite having just gone shortly beforehand. Another way you may be able to tell whether or not your dog has separation anxiety is if they follow you around everywhere you go. Those that do follow you around everywhere you go are much more likely to be anxious while you are away. Separation anxiety is very common. In fact, according to Merck Veterinary Manual, about 14% of dogs experience separation anxiety. However, addressing it comes with very common mistakes, including punishment for such behaviors. These behaviors often show up after big changes in a dog's life. That may be a move, a new schedule, or being rehomed from a shelter. Because of this, even seemingly small shifts in your routine can trigger intense anxiety in the dogs. It's important to differentiate this separation anxiety from other issues, also like incomplete house training, marking, or boredom, which can look similar but have very different causes and different solutions. Scolding can only make the problem worse. Instead, the goal is to teach your dog to feel calm and comfortable when alone. This could be done by building positive associations with time alone, using things your dog loves like puzzle toys or food treats. For more severe anxiety, gradual desensitization, starting with very short absences and slowly increasing that time apart, combined with professional guidance from a behaviorist or a certified trainer, can make a big difference. If the issue is severe, perhaps your dog is hurting themselves or others around them because of the separation anxiety, you can ask your vet if medications would be appropriate, but in most cases, behavior modification efforts can do the trick. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna fan. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays on Radio Taiwan International.